Star Study Cast, and with no further ado, let's get underway. I'm going to hand it over to Hannah, who is the director of the show.
Hi everyone, good morning. First, I'd like to start by just applauding you for being here. I know it's not easy to jump into something new, and virtual reality is very new, so I'm excited that you're here, and I want to give you a round of applause for being here. There's so many students I approached that are just like, ah, and they ran the other direction. So, also, with that being said, because it is such a new technology, I just want to encourage you that means that we can claim a stake in virtual reality as young people of all different backgrounds, because nobody owns virtual reality or augmented reality. Nobody's made the rules for this. So this is our opportunity to do so and really make something out of it, and put our name out there and try something new. So thank you all for being here, and I'm really excited for the Bar Jam. And I'd like to now to introduce Jacob Enfield, who is the multimedia option head, and he's been a large part in leading this project.
Maybe I'll just try to use this. Hi everybody. So some of you I know, some of you are actually in my class right now. I teach a class this semester, it's VR production. So that's focusing more on the interactive VR. But VR includes a lot more than just that interactive VR where you're picking stuff up and doing stuff. So let's kind of do a real quick, most of you know what VR is, so I'm going to fly through this, because otherwise you probably wouldn't be here if you knew what it was. But I want you to know what VR is to us as far as this jam goes, what kind of things might you be creating. That's me. So $150 billion, this is one projection of what the revenue will be from the VR and AR industries by 2020. That's a possibly very large industries. With AR probably, at least predicted, to be the much larger industry. We'll talk about this in a second. LA is a big player in this. I made this slide 6 months ago. There's a lot more companies than this in the LA area. There's just a lot of stuff going on with VR. We're in a hot spot for this stuff. So what is VAR? Well, it's our little way of saying virtual and augmented reality. So you won't be doing both probably. You'll be choosing what you want to do. But these are kind of the areas where you might focus in on. And so I'm going to talk about each one of those really briefly. But first, the difference between VR and AR, if you don't already know, VR, it's completely closed, right? It's taking you out of the real world completely. We have a couple of that headsets set up back here for after the show for you to check out some VR experiences. This is actually an interactive one, so it has controllers that come with it. Where's my signal person? Okay, my voice. So with that, basically everything is, you're taking out of the real world, everything's virtual. You're just in a completely different world. As opposed to augmented reality, where you can see through the glasses, you can see the real world, but you're overlaying virtual things in the real world. That's the big difference there. So if you are brand new to this and you feel a little intimidated, know that there are some really entry-level things you can do pretty impressively. These are photospheres, and that is basically taking a photograph, and it's a 360 photo though, so when you put your HMD, head-mounted display on, then you can look around inside of a 360 photo, as if you were there at the place where the picture was taken. And then in one of our workshops, which you'll learn about very soon, we're going to be showing you how you can link photoshops together, where when you look at a certain part of a photosphere, you can jump to another one, And then also within a photosphere, if you look at a certain part of it, you can have text pop up, or audio, or video. You can put multimedia within your photospheres. So those are pretty quick, fast things you can do, and then it's about, well, what can you do with that? What interesting thing can you do with it? So this is some of the tools of the trade for 360 photography. Some of these you may have access to. Isis from the Creative Media Studio will be talking, and we'll be able to tell you what kind of hardware and software you might have access to. And some of it you might even be affordable for your own budget, especially this one, I think it's one called the Beta that is fairly reasonably priced. And then this is the big one. If you're worried about money at all, your smartphone. You can do 360 photos, and we'll do that on a Friday workshop also. And then there's 360 video. So it's the same concept, except it's not just a still photo you're looking around in, it's actually a 360 video. And there's ways to do this really well. We have Tom Plant will be giving a speech about storytelling and ideas about, how much you want somebody having to look behind them and that kind of stuff, and having to keep their focus on what they should be looking at instead of looking off in the wrong direction. So there's a lot to think about with 360 video. And one of the new things, if you've done any video production, is taking these several videos from any direction and stitching them together. So there's an extra step in creating 360 videos. But that's another option for what you do for this, for our jam. And then there's all kinds of content already out there. We've got comedy, horror. Comedy's interesting because unlike in real life or real television shows and movies, you can really just get up in somebody's face, make them feel uncomfortable, which is interesting for comedy and for horror. So it's got some kind of interesting things. And I'll say that VR, what it gives you is it puts you there, right? Unlike TVs and movies where you're watching something as a third person, VR, you got presence, you're in the environment. And a lot of times when you're scripting, like let's say that previous one I showed, interrogation, you are a character in the show. You're the one being interrogated. So they get up in your face a little bit. 4K music video, just music videos in general, another kind of 360 video. If you're into animation at all, 360 animation, Pixar style stuff. Trailers and bonus content. This is how you see a lot of this being created because a lot of people don't want to make really long 360 videos. First of all, it's pretty expensive to do that, but also there's a concern about how long people are willing to wear these headsets and how healthy it is to wear it for extended periods. So usually, most 360 videos you see right now are 4 or 5 minutes long. So it's nice to have it with something, to promote something, or and in China, for instance, they have location-based VR where in their movie theaters you watch a movie and then immediately afterwards they have this little kind of upcharge little experience you can do. And I think that's starting to come to LA. Yeah, right? But 360 video live streaming, we'll talk about it, but it exists. So live streaming 360. And tools of the trade, so these are just some of the kind of cameras you might see. Again, like that real cheap one will work. But you need something that points in several directions, right? So like this one points in 2 different directions, and it does like a fisheye lens, so you still capture 360. And then the more cameras you have, the more stitching there is involved in probably higher res stuff. So this is a very professional one. Probably outside of their budget, but they exist. Now, after the 360 video, this is getting more complex. This is interactive VR. So now you're not just putting yourself in a virtual world, but you're able to interact with the things in that world. So not only do you just look around, but you can walk around. You can move through the environment. You can pick things up. You can use laser pointers to shoot things. This is where it's being used a lot, like for instance, in the game industry. And again, you'll have that chance to try that out in the back. And then the next thing is immersive VR creativity. So these are just kind of the things that you could do with immersive VR. There are a lot of things that you can do for just creativity. So it gives you the ability to create things. This one is on one of those in the back where you can create stuff, kind of like a photosphere, but it's 3D, so you're molding things or sculpting things. There is exploring worlds, so you see a lot of this VR content where you're exploring something. A lot of games, you'll see. And then this one's interesting. A lot of people think that VR is an isolating thing. You put the headset on and you're all alone. Well, there's a lot of VR content that's multi-user, multiplayer. And a lot of just VR that's set up for social things. Altspace is one that, they have like a live show in, and you can attend every week to these events that are happening, and you're there with a whole bunch of other people, so that exists. Tools of the trade, so some of you folks I know recognize from the art department, you're probably very familiar with Unity and Autodesk. That's for kind of the more interactive stuff. And then finally, that was all VR. All that was VR, virtual reality stuff. This is the other option you have, and that's augmented reality. And again, there's some pretty entry-level ways to start creating augmented reality. There's apps and stuff that kind of help you do that. But what is it? It's, these guys are looking, they see the real world, but they see things overlaid on the real world. And so this, you see a lot of examples. This is called the HoloLens. And if you go to their website, you see kind of all the different areas they're looking into using this technology with. And that's already being kind of explored. And that was your quick, fast overview. I am definitely one of the many that are a resource for you guys, so if you want to chat with me, you can. I'm going to introduce the AVP of Information Technology, Dion Zell. Academic technology, I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you, Jake. Great. All right. Well, if you're not excited enough already, I'm going to try to entice you with some of the potential directions that augmented reality and virtual reality are going, i.e. directions that you could take. So these are all things that are either about to come true or are already here. So what can you do with AR? Navigation is made easy, right? Because all that information is overlaid, whether you're sailing or hiking or walking across campus. You can now try out 3D furniture in your house. Okay? You don't need to go to IKEA and bring it home. You can just see what it looks like before going anywhere. You can tour homes, cars. Next time you want to go on vacation, you can actually go into the location and experience a 3D tour. Ditto with cars. Believe it or not, road rage may be a thing of the past, because with augmented reality, you can now understand the psychological state of the person driving in front of you. You can literally swap bodies. Thank you. To be in somebody else's shoes. So in this picture, this person is actually petting a pillow, but this person is literally seeing a dog in his lap. Okay, so you are literally in someone else's shoes. As a result of that, you can experience things that you've never experienced before. You can feel what it feels like to be autistic. Okay, you're walking around in this environment and there's flashing lights and there's noises everywhere. So they call VR the empathy machine, because you can now feel what it feels like to be like this, or to not have legs, or to be bullied, or whatever it is, you name it. You can be in that environment. You can experience a refugee camp in Syria. So VR and journalism is a huge emerging area. You can confront your fears and phobias. So lots of psychological applications. If you're terrified of tarantulas, well, you can now get over that terror with the help of VR. And I'm going to go to the dentist. You may be able to feel less pain at the dentist. You just immerse yourself, and suddenly you're in Hawaii. You're not feeling that drill at all. Actually, this has been shown to be true. So VR reduces pain. This is a big one. They found that actually if the light pulses at the exact stage that the gamma waves travel in your brain, can actually reduce the plaque that causes Alzheimer's. Brand new area. Think of the implications of that. You can bring the world to anyone, including the elderly, folks who can't travel. It is life-changing for people who are wheelchair-bound or housebound. Suddenly they can see their kids, they can climb Mount Everest, they can do anything. Tinder is now coming out with an AR app, so that you can find out not where the Pokemon are, but where the single people are around you. So I could scan the audience and find out who's single. You can paint, you saw this one already with the tilt brush, paint and sculpt in 3D. You can ride a roller coaster without going anywhere. I think some of the big theme parks are trying to go in this direction. So if you're scared of heights, you don't even have to go high anymore to ride a roller coaster. You can teach anatomy with cadavers, huge implications for medicine and any educational realm. And you can also relive history. So through augmented reality, you can shine your screen at something and a video will come to life. Okay, so in this picture, the camera is operating off of the picture in the background and the person watching is reliving a video showing history. So I hope that conveys that the possibilities are literally endless. And we're really excited to see where you all will take these new skills that you can now exercise. So on that note, let's bring Hannah back, and she's going to go through the rules and the guidelines for this competition.
Okay, so to do this, I'm going to actually bring you into the Canvas site. So if you have signed up through our web form on our BarJam site, then you will be automatically added to a Canvas site. So if you have not done that, you can speak to me and I'll get you going in there. So Canvas is our new learning management system. We were on Moodle before, so this is also a great way for you to be introduced to this. So when you come to the homepage, you will see a list of what this course contains. So in discussions, there are 3 different discussions. There's team sign up, which we will require you to put your other team members into this, into that forum. So just list who your teammates are. If you don't have a team, or maybe you're looking for somebody else, you can also post that and other people can join your team that way. There's also Q&A. A few of you have asked a few questions about location, a variety of other things. So if you have any questions, feel free to do that, and I check it daily, so sometimes hourly. And then there's also our resources. So if you come across any tools that you think would be really helpful to your fellow BarJammers, or anything that you just think is neat, you can post it there. I really want this to be a living, breathing community, where we help each other and try to find the best solutions. So whatever you find, you feel free to post it there. And then here you'll find the overview, guidelines, and prizes. So here's an overview. So you can see here you'll be judged on your innovative and creative way that your idea makes a difference to people's lives. So this could be productivity, health, basically any of the ways that Dion showed, or beyond that, whatever you can think of. And then effective use of VAR technology. So we're not requiring you to actually code anything. Of course, you're more than welcome to. There are SDK kits and all kinds of technology out there that I personally don't know how to use, but I saw a lot of you are computer science, computer engineering, so I'm sure you'll be able to dive into those. So, but if you aren't able to do that, you can actually just create a photosphere prototype of what you would like to do, potentially as an immersive project or so on. And then the quality of the multimedia presentation. So Tim, who will be coming up in a bit, will talk a little bit more about the multimedia presentation. But this will be a 2-minute presentation, sort of a pitch that conveys your idea and how you meet these criteria. And then we will also have 2 milestones. So the first milestone will be due on March 13th, and that's just a paragraph idea to make sure that you're on board, that you don't need any guidance, anything like that. The second milestone will be due March 20th, and that's just any photos that you have. So these could either be any animations that you've created or still photos, anything like that, and that'll be uploaded to Canvas. So here you can see on March 10th, we have a workshop day. This will be located in the Extended Learning Building, which is our new building near that bus transit station. And this will be a full day of just workshops to help you with this project. So we'll begin with photospheres, and then we'll have Tom White speak about the art of storytelling. We'll also have a Unity Basics, which Unity is a 3D modeling tool that you can create virtual reality and augmented reality as well. And then we'll have augmented reality and 360 video as well. So these workshops will be fundamental to creating the projects that you will turn into us at the end. We'll also have these power hours, so March 12th and, March 17th and March 29th, we'll have power hours, and this is just a time for you to come in and work with your peers, get your ideas going, talk to us, and it's just a way for us to support you and keep your project moving. All right, so let's go back into we went over submissions and meetups. So then there's also 3 different sections: virtual reality, augmented reality, and 360 video. And each of these sections has resources for you. So if you're looking for a place to start, or you're not really sure what kind of project one of these would entail, feel free to look at this content and get ideas, get started. There's Linda courses, YouTube videos. You'd be surprised how many YouTube videos there are for augmented, 360, everything. So feel free to look through this, and like I said, if you find anything else that's really fantastic, then post that on the resources as well. Okay? All right. So that's the campus site. If you have any further questions about that, I'll be floating around, and you can ask me then. And we'll bring up Tim.
My name is Timmy Gary, and I'm the multimedia technologist in the Faculty Technology Center. And I'm going to talk a little bit about your submission, what it is that you're actually going to be providing as a deliverable. So we're going to visit the Vargem challenge in Portfolium, which is how you are going to submit your 2-minute presentation. So we have a few guidelines here about your 2-minute multimedia presentation. So first of all, you're going to want to explain what the technology is that you used for your project. Did you use Unity? Are you doing AR? Are you doing VR 360, photo? Tell us about it. Explain to us what you've used. And then tell us about how your project is going to impact the lives of the people around you. So that's kind of one of the overall themes that we have for this competition, which is how can we create something that's going to have a positive impact? So you can certainly talk about that in your presentation. And you want to give us a demonstration of what your project looks like, how it works. If you've got some video that you can put in your presentation, that's great. If it's still photos, if you've got a prototype, any type of representation of what it is that you've created, that's going to go in your presentation as well. And you're going to provide audio narration. So you're going to take us through the entire, you're going to take us through your project and show us what it is, talk to us about it, and so that we get an understanding. And it's going to have to be uploaded to either YouTube or Vimeo and added to your portfolio entry. So you can include video, photo, screencasting, graphics. If you are an artist and you want to draw something, that's great as well. So we have one potential way of capturing and creating this multimedia presentation is we have a software on campus called Camtasia, which allows you to record your screen. So if you want to put everything into like a keynote or a PowerPoint, and then do a recording of that as you're narrating your audio, then you can go in and do some editing, make sure that it's within the 2-minute time limit, and then from there you can upload it to either YouTube or Vimeo. And if you have any questions about that, I'll be around, so you can come ask me. And then once you've got it and you've uploaded it to YouTube or Vimeo, then you're going to come into Portfolium. Right up here at the top, you've got the Enter Challenge button, so you can select that, and then it'll take you through the process of adding your video, adding your description, and all of that. Okay. And so next is. Yeah, okay, great.
My name is Ed Barris.
Oh, smell them.
Well, good morning. My name is Ed Barris. I'm with LACI at CSUN. How many of you have heard of LACI at CSUN? Okay, great. Well, LACI at CSUN is CSUN's on-campus startup incubator. So we work with people from the CSUN community who have founded companies, and we help them develop those companies. And we also work more generally with CSUN students, faculty, and staff who have some sort of idea that they're trying to develop. And so we work with those folks to teach them about entrepreneurship and to help them develop their ideas in ways that will enable them to reach more people with those ideas. We're really happy to be part of Vargem and glad to be invited to participate. And we're going to be involved in a couple of ways. So I'm going to tell you about those. One is on Friday, April 21st at 2 o'clock, which is right after the Vargem finals. We have an event planned for all of you. You are invited to our headquarters in downtown Los Angeles in the Arts District. for a virtual reality industry forum. So we'll show you our facility. We have a beautiful new 60,000 square foot facility where a lot of our startup companies are working, so you get to see the inside of a real life incubator. You'll see our prototyping center. We have a place where those companies are building their first generation models of their products. So we have 3D printers in the machine shop, an electronics lab, a chemistry lab, a biocell lab that they're all using. You can see all that. But the main event that day will be an industry forum. We're inviting a panel of experts from VR industry, from different companies, to share with you their thoughts on where they see the industry headed and how their companies are using virtual reality to develop products and services. And the winners from Bar Jam that day will have the opportunity to present their projects to this panel to get feedback from these experts on how you might develop your ideas further and what sorts of opportunities they see for you in the industry. So that's Friday, April 21st. You'll get more information about that. Then the other way we're going to be involved, you've heard a little bit about it already, is we're going to help with the development of your ideas. And to tell you more about that, here is Tom White, who's the Executive Director of LACI at CSUN.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Dion. Thank you, Jake. I'm thrilled, more than thrilled, to be part of this start of Bar Jam here at CSUN. How many here are CSUN students? Great. So I was a CSUN student too. And I can tell you that by being involved in this, starting today, that you are entering one of the most potentially valuable experiences that you'll have in your college life. The results of what you're going to create can follow you in a positive way all the way through your career. I graduated with a degree in industrial design from what is now the Curve College, and that means I was a product designer, designing products. And I quickly found that the better I could tell the story about the product that I was creating, the better the people I was reporting to would buy it and give me money for developing those things. And so Citicorp hired me to design new concepts, including the automated teller machine. And then Lockheed hired me away from Citicorp, and they said, we want to develop a network system. Can you do that? Yes, I did it. I concepted it, designed it, prototyped it, and I said, here it is. They said, oh, that's brilliant, fantastic. So I said, well, what do we do with it now? Well, now we have to go get the funding in order to install it and mobilize it and produce it. Well, how do we do that? Well, we've got to present this to management. Well, who does that? Well, I don't know. I said, well, how about I do it? They said, great. So I created a kind of a theme park experience to unveil and present this big network system. All the management from Lockheed came to see it. They all saw the unveiling, literally smoke and mirrors. And we got the funding. And they moved me over to marketing. And they said, we would like you to help sell jets. So I said, fantastic, where's my budget? Well, you don't have a budget, but you do have this small exhibition that you can use and take it to air shows. It's like, okay guys, if we're gonna sell jets, we need to up our game. So over the course of 8 years at Lockheed, I built a budget of about $5 million per year. I had a staff of about 15 people by the end. And part of what they asked me to do was to help sell the F-22 fighter jet to the Air Force. We were competing against Northrop. Lockheed hadn't produced anything that they could show since Vietnam. We had to demonstrate that we were the only choice for that competition. $70 billion was on the line. Can you imagine if you're going after a $70 billion contract and you don't get it, what the consequences are? It's bad. It was top secret, I couldn't show it, and I couldn't say anything about this jet. So I went into the world of fantasy. We designed a fictitious jet. We hired Sid Mead. Who's seen Blade Runner? Who's seen Aliens? Who's seen Tron? Yeah, well, Sid Mead designed all of those. Sid was one of my design heroes. I hired Sid. I said, Sid, here the engineering department has given me a sketch of what this jet isn't. So, and it's approved by the Air Force. So bring this to life. And he did. We created this poster series of this amazing jet. Meanwhile, Northrop was saying, this is top secret. We can't say anything about it. So we're going to make a jet that will fly itself, believe me, just like the proposal asks for. But then I turned to Hollywood and started making a series of films, special effect films. Not films that brought the jet to life, because we'd already done that in Sid's Amazing Drawings, but films that brought the pilots to life. And so one of the films was called The Spirit of Flight. It was a story of a 12-year-old boy who longed to be a great fighter pilot, and he has a dream where his ace of aces of World War II comes into his room from the grave, sits at his bedside, and tells him what it takes to be a great fighter. He has a Zen conversation with him together. 12-minute movie. Very Spielberg, very special effect, very beautiful, very touching. And when we showed this to the Chief of Staff of the Air Force at the big Air Force Association black tie ball in Washington, D.C., he cried. And we won the competition. So then I left Lockheed, and Motorola called me. I left Lockheed because they moved to Georgia. I didn't want to move. I wanted to stay here with my friends and family. So they moved to Georgia. I stayed here, opened my own agency, and Motorola called me. They said, we heard you helped Lockheed win that $70 billion contract. Yes. Well, we need to raise $1 billion for a new cellular satellite system we're working. Can you help us do that? I did, and I used augmented reality to do it. After I unveiled that, then Philips called. Big Philips in the Netherlands, they're huge. They said, we're launching a new technology called DVD in Europe. Can you help us launch that? And I did. Then Volvo called. They said, we want to create a new face to the world that makes the whole world connect with the Volvo personality. Can you do that? I did that. And it went on. I now help startup companies create their stories in order to go bring it to the world. But what has followed me throughout my career is not the technology, because I've used augmented. I've used about every kind of reality there is in order to tell these stories, but it's the storytelling that is at the core of what is going to allow you to win this competition. And you really have two stories that you have to tell. One is the story that happens within the media that you're going to create. The other is the story of your project. So you can have this 2-minute story of your project, right? So you've got to convince judges in 2 minutes that it is the most remarkable thing they've ever experienced. They really have to come away at the end saying, oh my God, I've never seen anything like this before. That is so good. And then of course when they put on the gear, they've got to see that it really is great. So I'm not going to tell you how to do that today, but on the 10th, next Friday at noon, I will tell you secrets to the magic of storytelling. There's a structure to it, there's a methodology to it, and if you follow this, who's seen Star Wars? Great, perfect audience. How about The Matrix? Anybody? Harry Potter? Good. Spider-Man? Nice. Lion King? Right? Okay. Well, all of those movies have used the techniques that I'm going to teach you next Friday. You're going to be able to take those away and apply those to your project. So I look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you very much, VarJam team, for inviting me. Jake Enfield, I look forward to working with you on this in order to help bring all this to life. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next Friday at noon over at Extended University.
Thank you, Tom. And next we have Dakota Ortiz, who is with Pixel.
Hey, good morning, everyone. That's kind of a tough act to follow. I haven't sold $70 million in jets yet. But the thing that I love about that story is it's LA-based. I'm from Pixel Exchange. It's the Innovation and Technology Center out of the LA Area Chamber of Commerce. Our mission is to support and develop technology throughout the LA region. So we do that in a number of ways. One of the ways is we run a startup launch program. So it's an incubator for early stage companies. So probably for some of the folks that are come out of the VarJam and you need some extra help, obviously you want to work with LACI. We provide no equity, free based mentorship. So some of our companies are going to hit Series A this year. We really just want to see the ecosystem in LA grow. One of the ways that we're seeing that that's happening is through virtual and augmented reality. We are partnered with a ton of great companies in the area. NextVR, who's doing some of those immersive experiences where you can put yourself in the middle of a Lakers game without having to go to the game. You saw the medical example that Dion gave. There's a company in LA that's doing a lot of research on pain management. So they're using it instead of at the dentist office for burn victims and for people with chronic back pain. And their main solution is that let's get people off opiates, which is a huge problem in the United States. There's amazing great work in LA. Content creation is huge. This is another way to create and tell stories. And we are seeing that it's growing immensely. Part of the reason that we're partnered on this event is, well, CSUN's a great partner of ours. We love the mandate for innovation on the campus, and we love that the work that the students have created through a multitude of the competitions. So we want to invite all of you as well to a virtual and augmented reality, basically a big event that we're doing on April 13th. We'll have Sony there who's going to talk to you about the cinematic experience. We'll have somebody from HoloLens to come talk about mixed and immersive reality, somebody from DAQRI to talk about sort of the B2B applications of how to, basically what they do, if you're not familiar, you put on their goggles and you could basically, if you're a mechanic, you could look at an engine and through your goggles it'll blow out the engine piece by piece, tell you how to put it together, take it apart, fix it. It's amazing technology. So we want to invite you to that. And we also want to be support for you. So throughout the competition, after the competition, if you become an entrepreneur, if you grow a business in LA, we want to be able to support you at whatever you're doing. So think of us as a resource. We want to help you. It's the definition of exchange is an exchange of ideas, being able to connect you. So that's what we're here for. We're really happy and excited to be partnered on this event. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Dakota. And next we have Isis, who is from CSUN in the Creative Media Studio, and she'll tell you a little bit about what she does and what resources she can provide.
Hi everyone, I know a lot of you actually, and yeah, I'm right above you guys, the Creative Media Studio. I'm actually right now the Learning Commons supervisor, so I actually handle the laptops and iPad checkouts as well. So my office moved, but if you come to the Creative Media Studio, which is a place that you would be coming for cameras, audio equipment, and anything else that you might need for this project, you'd be going to. So I'm going to show you real quick. So I hope all of you students here have been to this website. And if you go to services, find resources, you can go to Learning Commons. And this is all the stuff that we have on the first floor of the library. And the Creative Media Studio is one of them. And at the Creative Media Studio we do have a few VR headsets, but you have to use your cell phone with those. And this last month, we actually partnered with FTC to have the HTC Vive over at the Creative Media Studio for a few hours a day. And hopefully in the future we can do the same, and then we can have some really good virtual reality headsets for you guys to use. But why I'm showing this is because I was talking to Hannah the other day, and we're talking about 3D printing because we offer 3D printing and it's free for students. And you might want to print you can print a lot of things with it. One of the things that you can do is you can create actually rigs for 360 video with 3D printers. So you can print a rig and then you attach cameras to it for GoPro cameras. And then you can record 360 video with those. You can also print little models or figurines to do augmented reality with. So that's another option as well. And if you come to the Creative Media Studio, we have 3 printers at the moment, and you can print something. So, and we can help you out with it. We're open 9 to 9 and on weekends 12 to 5. And if you come by, we have always a student assistant there to help you with the projects. Also, you have to create a multimedia project for this, and you have to present, share a video about your project. So you might want to check out a camera or use our recording studio for audio. We have all of the support that you might need for this competition. So I would highly recommend that you take advantage of this. All of this is free for students. So take advantage of it, it's available. It's right above us on the first floor, all the way to the left of the library. So if you come up, it's this way, I think. I'm lost right now. So here's the list of equipment we have. And the recording studio, what kind of audio equipment we have. And all the list of software that we have as well. We're updating our stations very soon. So we're getting a couple more software. We're getting Maya and Logic and other cool stuff, so. And our computer stations, you can actually book in advance, up to 2 weeks in advance. And if you're in a group, you can totally huddle in and you can use the computers. And you can do 3 hours at a time. The same thing for the recording studio, so if you want to book in advance, I highly recommend that you do that. It's very competitive to get a spot on the recording studio. For the computers, it's not as bad, so you have a lot more chance of getting a computer station there. So you can see the green free spots and red booked. And the recording studio is always booked pretty much. And like I said, you have 2 weeks in advance, so if you know that you're creating a project for this and you want to record a really good audio, go online and try to book a spot for that. And I'll be there as well. If you have any questions, you can ask any of the student assistants, you can ask myself, or you can ask Eva, who's my assistant up there. And I think that's it.
Yeah, she has a lot of great resources, so really go and check it out. Also, a really cool community. I've been up there a few times recently, and it's really awesome. Okay, so once again, I would just like to look at the workshop days. So remember, March 10th, mark this in your calendar. It's going to be a really great day to get you started with your project and get your ideas going. Once again, we'll have Tom White there with the artist storytelling. It's going to be an amazing presentation. So if you're unable to make any of these, you can contact me and we'll talk about it, and we'll be recording this as well. So just remember these dates. And that concludes the formal part of this presentation. So if you guys want to try out some of the equipment, we have some Google Cardboards, we have VR boxes. In the back near where Jake is standing, we'll do a little bit of team meetup. So if you don't have a team yet, or you just want to talk about how you could potentially find a team, we'll be back there to facilitate some of that. And then we have 2 vibes set up. So there's a lot of opportunity to try the fully immersive VR. If you have not had a chance to do so, I highly recommend it because it's going to blow your mind. So thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be fun.